Hello, ladies. Welcome to the You Can Have It All podcast. Today we have Lissa Higgins. She is an individual that I met online when I was actually looking for somebody who would be a great leader in my own company. And I got to know her, and I really wanted to share her story. She is a mother of three. She recently started a business coaching and health coaching business for women, and she's also a very successful network marketer. So her story intrigued me. I wanted to share with you guys her point of view, her life story, and basically everything that she's learned from when she first started to now. And I feel that it would really benefit you all to take notes, write some things down, and also follow Lissa because she's extremely educated in health and business, and she'll be a great person to follow along. So let's get started. Okay, so I met Lissa online. I was looking for a potential leader for my company because I'm part of a brand new company. And I loved her profile. She's very positive. She has so much knowledge. And I thought, oh my gosh, she would be a great person to have in my community. It's not the case for Lissa right now. She is with a different company. But as I got to know her, I thought, wow, I have to share her story. So I connected with her. I found we shared a lot in common. And so here we go. So where are you from? Give us just the basic background. Where are you from? And you're a mother of three. Tell me all about kind of your background here.
Yes, thank you for that, Jordan. Thanks for the opportunity to get to share and get to know you and your listeners. I think that's the beautiful part of what we do is just the connections. So I am Lissa Figgins, and I am a suburban girl who's now living in the country. So I spent most of my growing up years in the Chicago suburbs, and that was all that I knew until about 2 years ago when my rural husband said, I cannot stay in the suburbs anymore. We've got to get out of here. So we moved to a small town about an hour outside of St. Louis. And I got to tell you, except for the fact that Target is not around the corner, I absolutely love it. Just fresh air, space, super genuine people. It's just really been such a great gift for us and for our family. And so, yes, we have 3 kids. Our 2 boys are already out of high school and onto their next ventures. So they just kind of come and go in between those things. And I have a daughter who just yesterday started her junior year of high school. So very soon working ourselves out of that job where there'll be kids around the house and all of a sudden things will be empty, which actually is kind of part of why I'm doing what I'm doing.
Yeah, that's kind of, well, not really where I'm at, but yeah, I'd have to say I'm about in the same boat. You're lucky though, your kids are older, they're gonna leave the nest soon, so this is like perfect timing for you to develop and grow and expand your business for sure.
Yes. So for me, it was that year I turned 40 when I kind of had that wake up call. And, just one of the things that relates to what we're just talking about now was, who am I? I've been such in this mom role for so many years, which was a gift. I loved that. I had the opportunity to be home with them. I'd been a teacher before kids and then got to be home with them and really enjoyed that opportunity. But I knew that I had faded as a person in who I was. I knew that I wasn't using all the gifts and abilities that God had given me. And I just felt this nudge that as I was entering my 40s, that there was something I was supposed to be doing. I had no idea it would be something like this. People had asked me to join their network marketing company plenty of times before. I always said no. I'll host for you, I'll support you, I'll buy from you. I don't do those. But I knew I needed something that was going to grow me, and that's probably the most surprising piece out of all of this. That I came in more for the health part of things, and then really have gotten more of the personal growth part out of it.
Absolutely. I would have to say for me, I was opposed to it in the beginning. And now it's like I'm an entirely different person from who I was 2 years ago, 4 years ago. And it's all from self-development that is so widely taught in network marketing. So I'm excited to hear more. So you grew up in Chicago. What was it like growing up in Chicago, I know, so I mean that's like freezing for one. When I think Chicago, I think hot and really cold, but also culturally wise, it's very different. Um, Tell me about when you were younger and kind of like what your aspirations were. What did you do before network marketing? How did you kind of fall into this?
Sure, sure. So yeah, growing up in the Chicago area, you do deal with the winters. However, what you were just telling me before we got on the call was you've been stuck in your house because of the heat. So your summers are like what our winters were. We just flipped the season. So we all, I mean, most of us live in an area where you're going to have a few months of the year that you're kind of hunkered down, and then the rest of the year you can be outside.
Yeah,
So, that was just what I knew, and I love the change of seasons. Like I think that I would miss that. Where we live now is a little bit more mild. So I still enjoy the seasons, but they're not quite as harsh as they were before. So it is feeling really nice. But so that's kind of that growing up part. Then when it comes to my aspirations, I came from a family of educators, and so I wanted to be a teacher. I felt like that would be a great way to help other people. I knew that one day I wanted to be a mom, and so I thought that would be a great career to have that would help me work around kids and kids schedules and things like that. And I just really saw the difference. I knew the difference teachers had made in my life, and not just in the teaching, right, and in the knowledge, but it was the teachers who really saw potential in me, who really drew things out of me. I can still specifically remember sitting down with specific teachers that saw something in me that I didn't see in myself. And it's kind of funny because something that one teacher told me my freshman year of high school, my business coach just told me yesterday. And so just needing those people in your life who are, who believe in you and who are getting you out of, maybe that shell that sometimes we tend to hide inside of, and push us on to do bigger things. So I went on to be a teacher. I taught middle school, which some people look at you like you have two heads. I give a lot of credit to the people who do the littles, because I think that's the crazy time. But I
yeah,
loved it. I loved teaching that age. It's just, you can have fun with them. You can get to higher level conversations and things like that. And so that was really a great thing. I worked with gifted students as well. So kind of that higher level thinking and all of those things. But then it got to the point where, it just wasn't worth, once we had baby number 3, it was just a lot to juggle at home. And so we made the decision for me to be home, which was an absolute gift. Like I was saying earlier, I loved that. I loved the flexibility. My husband did some traveling that we could be with him, so it gave us that freedom and flexibility. We actually homeschooled a little bit during that time.
oh
And so that was
wow,
a gift
yeah,
as well. Yeah. And so really, really loved that. And again, kind of went through my 30s and was not quite sure what was next for me, but I knew I didn't want to go back to a full-time teaching career, because I
yeah,
knew the time that was going to take. And yes, you're on the same schedule as your kids, but your heart, there's always something, that you're doing. So, so the way that this kind of fell into my lap, do you want me to share that?
yeah, absolutely,
Okay. Okay.
absolutely.
So it was the year I turned 40 that I just kind of had that wake up call that said, who am I? How did I get here? Where am I going? What is life going to look like? How do I want to be intentional? And there were a couple different pieces to that. One was health. So in my 30s, I had a cancer scare, and it was one of those random things. I went to the dentist, and he was like, just like feeling here, and he's like, you've got some big nodules. I'm going to send you on to an expert. You need to get in there right away. Like, just, again, I hadn't felt anything wrong. I had no idea. So ended up going, the test came back saying, yes, it looks like it's cancer. So, went ahead and scheduled the procedure to take out one half of it. And I remember getting the phone call after they did the test results, and they said, well, it's not. So we don't have to take out the other half of your thyroid. So that was
Yay!
just a gift, right? I know. I was
Oh
like,
my
yay, I don't
gosh.
have to be on medication for the rest of my life. But it really was a wake up call for me, because I would have told you at that time that I was healthy. Again, I thought, I don't eat a ton of junk food. I grew up in a family where we sat down and mom made, dinner every night. So we weren't, I wasn't raised on microwave dinners and things like that. And I thought I was, taking care of myself, and I didn't have a weight issue and things like that. So it really kind of made me stop and go, wait, are there things I'm putting in my body that possibly could be causing issues that could lead to something like this? And so through my learning, and back then there weren't a lot of resources at the ready, like Google was not the thing you went to back then. So I had to do a lot of asking the people and reading and listening to different things, and just learned a lot.
Yeah,
And I learned also what you put on your skin matters. Everything you put on your skin absorbs in 26 seconds. And so that was eye-opening to me. I thought, oh my goodness, can you imagine how many different skincare products, cosmetics, personal care things I've used over the years? I've never
yeah.
once thought about what was in them. It was just whatever
Perfumes,
was on the shelf.
deodorant. Everything.
Totally. Yeah.
So
And
many
now
things.
that information is out there, now people know, like, yes, deodorant is one of the major contributors to breast cancer because of, what's in it and how close it is to that sensitive tissue.
Hmm.
So, so it was interesting. And I think the reason I said yes to the company that I'm with now is because it was a fit for me and it was filling a need. So all those times when somebody asked me before to be a part of them, I liked their purses, I liked their bags, I liked their clothing, I liked their jewelry, I liked their pots and pans, like I liked those things. I used them in my day, but it wasn't something that at the end of the day that I truly believed in and like I wasn't going to be okay without. And so I
Yeah.
felt like when I was introduced to Arbonne as the company that I'm with, it was like, this is the healthy living plan I've been looking for. This is what's going to help me finally figure out how to make this a lifestyle with what I eat and what I put on my body. And these are things I'm going to buy on the regular basis for my family and I anyway. Why wouldn't I educate people and tell them you need to make healthy choices? And here's the
Yeah.
difference.
So let's talk about when you first joined, because when you're new to network marketing, you have no idea. You have
No clue.
no clue. And all you know is what people tell you, which is actually very unfortunate because I have found that network marketing for me has been like the most rewarding career I've ever had ever in my life, aside from, my accountability coaching and things like that. But still, even then, you're surrounded by all these incredible people. What was it like? What were your feelings and your emotions when you, like that first day when they told you, okay, let's go ahead and think of all the people that you might want to partner with? And how did that go for you? Was it family did family respond well? Did friends respond well? Do you just reach out to people now that are like completely people you don't know? What was that feeling and how did you get confidence? How did you remain confident in all of that?
Well, it's funny because my friend who shared the business with me lives in another state. So we had been together and I had gotten to try her skincare products that she brought to our girls' weekend. And that was the weekend where we were all talking about turning 40. And so it was kind of all these things together. So when I said yes, I really had no idea what I was saying yes to. I'd never been to, we were doing a lot of like in-home presentations at that time. I'd never been to one, never seen one. Nobody was doing them online at that time. So she just sent me a script, said, read this 7 times before you do your first one and go for it. And I remember I scheduled my launch, right? My 2 launches. And I called her up and said, okay, people are coming to my house next Thursday. What do I do when they get here? Like literally I knew nothing. And yes, one of them was my mom, and, some friends from church and maybe a couple of neighbors, so it was just a handful of people. And, it's so sweet because some of the people that were at that very, very first one, when I just had this script and I had no idea what I was doing, they're still clients because they believe in me, but they've also seen the difference that products have made for them too. So you don't have to know everything, right, to be able to help somebody, which is really good. But I have learned a lot since then. And I will say that I'm like a dog with a bone. So, I'm not going to give up until you tell me no. And even then, so I think I made a lot of mistakes of, just keeping in that circle of family and friends and, and really trying to, follow up and follow up and follow up. And I'm sure people were sometimes like, okay, would you please stop, but I didn't know, nobody had trained me on what that looked like, and I believed in what I had to offer. I knew that this could make a difference for their health. I knew it could make a difference for their time, for their finances, right? So I was like ignorance on fire. Like, who can I share this with? This is like the best thing ever. It'll change their life, so it really was, I would say, like in the last, kind of that first half, I was just kind of trying to figure it out. And then I was like, I really need to figure this piece out. And that's when things started transitioning more to online. And we also made our move to this town where we knew nobody. And, I didn't want to just like bust into church and be like, hey, I'm the Arbonne lady, like come buy my stuff. Like, that's not who I am, right? I wanted to develop relationships. And so I really started over the last couple of years really learning, like, this is network marketing. This is building networks, building relationships, connecting with people, getting to know them. And then if there's a way that I can share what I have to offer because of something that they're sharing, then I can, in an authentic way, share that. I told my business coach last night, I was on a call last night for another gal who's just started a network marketing company. And she had it was a 3-way. So she had like her sponsor on there with us. They did not ask me one question. they didn't take the time to find out who I was, what my needs were, if I had any problems that their product solved. It literally was just buy my stuff. Here's what it's done for me. And that's great. I was the one asking
No,
the
don't do
questions
that.
of them. And I just said to her afterwards, I said, that's what not to do. Like, I want to make this about getting to know someone and who are you and what do you need? What's going to help you live out the roles that you have as a wife, as a mom, as a daughter, as a friend, as a business owner. Right. And so I've learned a lot of that over the past years. And that didn't come from my sponsor telling me that. I've had to dig in and find people to follow on social media and figure out what that looks like. And it's been a process, but it's been so worth it, because now, like you and I, we've just made genuine connections and authentic connections. And it's about how can we serve each other, not what can you do for me? Right.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm like, is that oh no, I thought the dog in the back was
It's mine.
my dog, because he's always barking, but it's all he sounds like Max, but surprisingly for the first time ever, he's not. So yeah, how would you compare when you started network marketing, just the way that they trained you and the way that they taught you to now? And how did you continue to maintain your confidence because it's hard day in, day out, getting no's. It's a hard concept. But I think as you grow and as you start to understand the industry and what you're doing, you realize that no is not a big deal. No is sweat off your back. No is maybe not this time, maybe later.
Yeah. I had to learn not to take it personally. I think that was the hardest thing in the beginning, was like, especially because so many of the people I was connecting with in the beginning were friends and family, were people that were already in my life. I was almost like, personally hurt, or then I felt like, oh no, am I like, bugging them, or I don't want them to think that I just want to sell them something. That's the only reason I reach out, so that was that piece of it, of just, really kind of struggling with that. And, I've learned that, when you have a business, if you open a boutique, you open a coffee shop, you don't only invite friends and family to come, right? You're thinking about, who is that ideal client? Who's that ideal person who's coming in? Our friends and family have not already raised their hand and said, I want what you have to offer, even though they may need what we have to offer, right? Like, everybody who has hair, skin, and a digestive system, I joke, needs what I have to offer, but that doesn't mean they think they need it, or nor do they want to hear about it. So really shifting to, who are the people that are raising their hands and saying, yes, this is something I want to know more about. This is something I want to learn. And those are the people I want to connect with, instead of trying to convince someone that they need, whatever this is. And so that's definitely been a big part of the journey. And, so I think some of the rejection came from me trying to make something there that wasn't there. Right. And so learning that, but then just that learning to take the emotions out of it. And it's also a numbers game too, when it comes down to it. If I've only talked to 3 people, chances are 2 of them at least are going to say no, right? If I talk to 30 people, then maybe I have 15 that tell me no. Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. So so part of it too is, how many people are you talking to? If you're only talking to a handful of people and it feels like everybody's saying no, that's probably just a statistical thing. And it just means you're not talking to enough people. And people who are saying, yes, I want what you have to offer.
Absolutely. And then on the connections part, I learned the other day that, because you kind of start to forget about it, that it's about connections. It's about the people. And one of my mentors said, your company does not give you residual income. Your commission structure does not give you residual income. Your there was something else that was like, does not give you residual income. It is your people. It is your community. It is your clients. And if they are not being tended to, if they are not being cared for, if they are not being understood, you don't have residual income. It's
right.
all
because people aren't going to stay. They're going to be a client, not a customer.
Mm-hmm. Yes. If you don't have good relationships, then you don't have residual income. And so you think, yes, that's so obvious. But sometimes you get so far into a corner or just blinded by what you're doing, that you forget about that. And it's all about building the relationship. It's all about learning about the other person, opening up, asking them, what drives you? What scares you? What do you want
Right.
to change about yourself?
Mm-hmm.
And we forget to do that because we sometimes are being selfish and we're not thinking about the other person. But what network marketing is so about is building the relationship and building the community. And the more that you ask about the other person and the more they talk versus you
Right.
talking, the bigger your network is going to get and the more people will appreciate you. You mentioned something else. I should have written it down. I'll try to remember it. But I wanted to ask you, oh, where did my, I've got all my notes here. Sorry. Um, what? So what were your dreams then and how does it compare to now? Because, and I know that's kind of like a very one-off question, but I have found personally that when I was younger, it was like, I want to be famous. I want money. I want, you know, and I've actually learned as I've gotten older that my true dreams are really to change other people's lives and to affect them positively, to leave every situation better than it was when I first arrived. And I'm finding that that's my true motivation. It's not money. It's not a paycheck.
Right.
It is like my absolute community. There's nothing wrong with wanting a paycheck. Let me tell you.
Mm-hmm. Right, because the
Everything
more lives
so
you
good about it.
change, the more your
Yes.
paycheck's going to grow. Like that
Yes,
is
right?
that connection.
So what have you kind of learned through this whole process of like, what is your inner motivation? What is that fire that lights you? And it doesn't necessarily have to be from when you first started to now, but it is interesting to know that. I would love to know that.
Yes, yes. So, I think in the beginning, because I'm a teacher, because I'm a numbers girl, because I'm a like, give me a checklist and just, so I was very focused on, okay, this is what I need to get to this level. Okay,
Yep.
so how do I do that, right? And how do I break that down? And just and not that those things are important. I think if you are a true
That's
business
great.
owner, you need
Yeah.
to know your numbers. I think too many business owners that, especially in network marketing, because it's, a kind of more of a non-traditional business, we treat it more like a hobby, and then it pays us like a hobby, or it costs us like a hobby, right?
Yes.
Whereas when you treat it like a business and you know your numbers, so those are important, but really it comes down to exactly what you said. How many lives are changed, and I firmly believe that, especially as women, we have this ripple effect, we have this impact on so many other lives. And so, if I can help a woman take better care of herself, then that's going to ripple effect into her family, which is going to ripple effect into her community, which is going to ripple effect in her job. And, and like, that's going to just keep spreading. So I feel like, now it's more like, what's that legacy, right? Like, what do I want people to, what do I want to be known for? Not, oh, I achieved this level, which yes, I still have those goals. I still would love to, I've got some things I'd like to, to
All of us
achieve in
do.
those areas,
Absolutely.
but I want people to say, she genuinely cared about me. She lived what she said, like, I'm not just saying this online and then, and not that I never, have a bowl of ice cream or something like that, being a health and wellness coach, but, like, I am who I am wherever I am. And I'm just bringing people on that journey. And I truly want to see someone's life changed and see them living healthier so they can do the things that they're telling me, this is what's important to me, right? This is my passion. This is what I really want most in life. And when health and wellness or time or finances become a barrier or a distraction, then that's where I want to come in and say, hey, can I help you? Like, let's do this so we can remove those, so you can do those things that you're called to do, right?
Yeah. How
So
can we
it's about those
refocus?
lives.
Yeah.
Yes.
So tell me about your coaching business, because that's what you do. That's like your specialty now,
Right.
from all of this stuff that you've learned in network
Right.
marketing. You really do have the ability to be able and knowledge to coach other people if changing lives is what you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And so tell me about that. Tell me how it's been going for you, just Give me all the
Sure.
details. I want
All
to
the
know
good stuff.
everything.
So
Yeah.
I started off by not doing it right. So I've learned a lot by trial and error and, oh, really? I don't want to be that girl. So, I mean, when I started my network marketing business, again, I didn't know anything. I just had these great products and that was my focus. And it wasn't necessarily buy my stuff for me. Like I genuinely was trying to make it because I believed in it for them. But really, I think it was more, here's this and here's this and here's, and it was more about those products. And in the past couple of years, just, I've really learned to brand myself. And not that it's about look at me now, but it's really about like, how can I come in and serve you? What do you need? Right. And so I find more of my conversations, they used to start with, have you tried this protein shake? Have you used this skincare line? Like those kinds of things. Whereas now it's more of a, let me get to know you. What are those things that are what are those things like, what would prioritizing your wellness look like for you, and letting them talk, right? Hearing what they have to say, picking up on those things, how is that going? Like, what are you doing? What aren't you doing? Like, and then really kind of trying to help them. A lot of it is the mindset. A lot of it starts up here. There's this gap between, we all know what we should be doing when it comes to our health,
Yeah.
right? We know that bowl of ice cream is not adding health. We know we should drink more water. We know we shouldn't, skip breakfast or, live on a pot of coffee or whatever that is. But oftentimes there's a gap between the knowing and the doing. And usually that's because there's excuses in the way. I don't have time. I don't have money. I don't have motivation, right? So I found that if I just focus on products, they could, that product could sit on their shelf and never get touched, right? So
Yeah.
the coaching part that's come out has been, okay, what do you really want? Why do you want it? How important is that to you? When somebody tells me, I want to lose weight, this lady the other day told me, I want to lose weight because I know that weight is an issue for me. I've got high blood pressure. Her mom had a stroke at age 50 or 51 and she's 50. So she's like, I don't want that. I want to live a healthy life, so I've got to lose this weight. So now you're digging down into the why. And then I can offer, hey, this is something that's worked for some of my clients. Can I tell you their story? Can I tell you what this has done? Does this sound like something that would help you with XYZ, right? So now it's about who they are. So I think that's where that coaching part comes in, right? And the same thing
Absolutely.
happens when someone tells me, oh my gosh, I have no time to ever be with my kids. I have no time to do the things that I want to do. And that's where, I can offer a business opportunity, or I never have the money to take my family on vacation, or I'm tired of being under debt load. And, those things that are weighing on our heart and mind that keep us up at night are usually our health, our time, and our finances. Those are the three
Yeah.
things. So the coaching part comes in of just helping draw that out and saying, what is it you want? How much do you want it? How will it feel when you have that?
Yes.
And then, here's something that can help you, right? They still have to make that choice. We can't want it for them more than they do. That's the hard part as a coach. I think you see it sometimes and you're like, oh, they're like, this is what you need to do. And, but really it's just putting it in front of them, right? So I'm not trying to sell you something. A car salesman is trying to sell you a car. Their goal is to get you in a car, right? Whereas a consultant or a coach, their goal is to make you better, right? So it may be this car, this car, this car. It doesn't matter to them and which dealer it's from. They're just going to make sure it's the things you need because you've got a growing family, or you're downsizing and so you're ready for the convertible or whatever, like, as opposed to somebody who just tries to sell you something. So I think that's what a coach does. It's a little bit different.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And gosh, so tell me about, like, what are some of the things that you recommend that you do not do? What are some of like your biggest mistakes that you've made, and you've seen other people do it too, and it's common? And how have you learned from that, and how have you changed that behavior?
Sure. Well, one thing I would say is with ourselves is the self-sabotaging things we tell ourselves. I think that's where
Yes.
it starts. It's always in our head and feeling like I'm not good enough. I don't know enough. I don't think I can do this, just all those things that we get in there. And so that's where that personal development piece comes in, that I am constantly listening to something or reading something. I joke and say that if it's appropriate and my family is gone and I can have
Yeah.
headphones in, I'm in the kitchen, I'm getting ready in the morning, I'm working out, I'm doing laundry, I'm cleaning, I'm listening to something. And so much so I'll forget sometimes which podcast did I hear that on, but I know I heard it when I was mopping the floor the other day, right? Because I'm like,
Yeah.
how can I repurpose this time? So really working on, what goes on inside of our heads and working on that piece of it. I think another thing is just asking a lot of questions and not making it about you. Case in point, that phone call was on last night. It was, just them talking about them and all the great things their product did, right? And never stopping to ask me what do I need? How am I feeling? Are these any things that I'm looking for?
Yeah.
I think putting links out there, when you're connecting with people before you've gotten to that point where really asking permission, right? Developing a
Yes,
relationship with somebody. I mean, how many times is somebody like in the first message, boom, they send you a link, and I have a different heart when I look at it now, because I get it. Like, like they just don't know what they don't know. And so I'm going to maybe
we're
gently
all
kind of,
learning so much
right,
every day.
But I think if I was just some random person, I would be totally turned off, and would be like, yeah, no, now I don't want to talk to you. So,
Yep. I
where
was
you're
guilty
really,
of that. I might have been guilty of that recently, until I learned, like, you have to build the rapport.
right,
It's just,
right,
that's how it is. And the
exactly,
market's
yeah,
constantly changing with how people are viewing and accepting you coming into their life and asking them, are you open to this?
yes.
I
I
mean,
had one lady describe it like this. She said, it's like a tent. She said, a tent is not a hard wall. So she said, when you come up against that tent, there's a little bit of give. Some people, there's more give than others, right? Some people, it's like taunt, and it's like, and you could kind of go, okay, back off. They're not open or whatever. Some people, it kind of takes a little, some people give quite a bit. And she's like, you don't want to come in so hard and fast that you knock over the tent, because they're going to be ticked, and that's the end of it, right? But you also don't want to come in and then just bounce off, because they're so like rigid that, they're not letting anything in. So it's kind of like that gentle, like just being able to put, kind of see what give is there, what they're open to, because it does come down to asking, and if we don't ask, I think sometimes we think, oh, I'm putting this information out there. I'm putting, this great content. I'm putting this picture so people know that I do this, and they know that this is an option, and I'm just going to wait for them to come and ask me. Reality is, most people say yes to network marketing because someone asked them to take a look at it. It wasn't, I was listening to a training this morning, and she said, I'm an anomaly. I went to my sponsor and said, how do you do this? Like, I want to do this. She goes, but most people are not like that. You're going to have to ask. And like you were saying earlier, it may not be right now, and being okay with that, like giving people that permission.
Yeah.
When you talk about mistakes, here's one mistake I think that I made was like, in my follow-up, like they had told me they were interested. They had told me this. And then, I would follow up and not hear from them. And I'd follow up and not hear from them. And I'd follow up and not hear from them. And I'd follow up, I'd space it out, a couple days, couple weeks, but really, it really should only be a couple of times, and then give them permission to walk away if they need to, leave that voice memo that just says, look, I don't know where you're at. If this isn't a good time for you or not interested, totally fine. Maybe let's just take it off the table. And if you want to come back to it a later time, I'm totally open to, and then just let it go. Right. And oftentimes people are gonna be like, wait, no. And I think that's where people, they don't feel like you're desperate. That's a big mistake that I've made, was just in trying to be intentional in my follow-up, not trying to sound desperate and trying to really help them, but giving them that space to just, them not answering is probably them saying no without saying no.
Absolutely.
So giving them permission to do that.
Yeah. But you also don't want to assume that their lack of response is them automatically saying no, because some people are really busy, or they do require, it's a minimum of 8 touches before you are really grasping somebody's attention. And it can be, one of my mentors says, it could be 8, it could be 100. It could take somebody a really long time to warm up to you. You just have to kind of use your common sense and judgment, and just be nice about it. Don't be forceful. Provide education each time you come back to them, something that may interest them. But yeah, so this is all amazing information. Thank you so much. I want to finish up. Can you give me a either a podcast or 2 podcasts and a recent book that you have read that you can recommend that is great for self-development, or just because it is, network marketing is all in your head. The only thing that gets in the way of your success is you. It's that's what it is. And if you just if you get out there and you're coachable, and you do the things that your coach is telling you to do, and you're open and you're excited, you're going to do great. don't let your head get in the way, right? So what are some
Right.
books or self-development, we can be told that, but we need to be told almost every day, I feel like. Affirmations every
Exactly.
day. All right, I'm babbling. Go ahead.
No, that's good. It's good because
Give
there's
me your,
always things to learn, right? And we hear it in a different way, even if we've already read it before, to come back to some of those things. So there are two podcasts that I really am liking right now. One of them is Your Virtual Upline with Bob Heelig. He's the founder of Leadership Legacy, and I love his heart. He specifically works with network marketers, and his philosophy is we're here to make a difference. We're not here to be the slimy, salesy network marketers, right? We're here to make a difference in the lives of people and to leave a legacy. And he really develops that heart, that grow, serve, love, I think are the three things that he talks about. And, and how we approach things. And we still treat it like a business. We still have system. He talks about systems. He talks about how to do follow-up. He talks about, like all these practical things, but he also talks about where's our heart in this, right? So I love him. I also have just found in the last couple of months, Primal Potential by a gal named Elizabeth Benton. And she is also a network marketer. She didn't start the podcast that way, but she is now. But her podcast focuses on change. Like, how do we transform ourselves? And really a lot of mindset. And what are those things that feel hard? What are those things that are getting in the way? What are those things we don't feel motivated to do? And then what do you do with that?
It's like the psychology podcast for network marketers.
It really is. It really is, and, she probably has more people on there who are just on there for mindset than, anything she does with the network marketing piece. And, I just pick up on, she'll mention, oh yeah, my network marketing company, but her focus is not on that, but she understands that. So I like that as well. So those are two podcasts. In fact, I just ordered her book, Chasing Cupcakes. So that's my next read, where she talks about her story and kind of the things that she got over in her life and really how mindset came into that. And so that's my next read. Gosh, when it comes to like other books, there's so many good books. I like The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy, because the little choices we make every day add up, right? And there is, the cumulative effect over time. He calls it the compound effect. The other one that I like is The Slight Edge, and I'm blanking right now on who the author of that one is, but it's kind of a similar idea that, when we're really putting ourselves fully into something, All In by Mark Batterson, that's another really good one too. When we put ourselves all into something, that's kind of how I try to look at my business. Like, I'm not leaving a back door, right? There's no, like, if this doesn't work, then I'll just whatever. Cause I think when you do that, you let yourself off the hook and you don't fully go all in because there's an out. So it's like, nope, full steam ahead. Like, this is where we're going. This is what we're doing. And I'm just going to grow through it.
So it is so true. If you are 90% there, you're only going to get, 8% or 10% results. If you are 100% there, then you're going to get 30% results, which is like good, which is great.
Right. And so many people give up when they're like right
committed.
there.
Yeah. You have to be committed.
I mean, you never know. One more call, one more Facebook connection, one more LinkedIn connection could be some really big thing, right?
Person.
So the person who gives up and says, okay, this is my stopping point, you'll never know what went beyond there. So I think once you decide, it's like, I'm a lifer, and I'm just gonna keep
what
going.
is that saying too? That saying that talks about the person who gives up typically gives up right before they're about to peak at their success and start seeing success. So it's when you're at that point where you're really, really, really struggling, like you're almost to the top and you feel like, I just need a little bit more. And you look down and you're like, I've done all this. Don't give up. Do not give up, because it took a really long time for you to get there. And just keep going. Keep going. I feel like everybody hits that at some point. Everybody, and multiple times. It's not just one time in your career, in anyone's career, that they hit that, but it's many times. And you need to remember, like, I'm doing this. I committed to this. This is what I want in my life. This is what I want in my future. This is why I'm doing this. So, yeah. Well,
love that.
So Lissa's offering some awesome tools. She is offering a free 30-minute discovery call, which is awesome, amazing. to the first 5 people that contact her. So she goes over, you know, your why, who do you want to be? Where do you want to be? What do you struggle with? Things like that. And so the first 5 people that contact her, they are going to get a free discovery call. Y'all, you have to take advantage of this because Lissa knows what she's doing. She has a lot of experience. As you've heard, she's also had a lot of failure. So what you learn from that is you become more successful with the more failure that you have, because you learn to understand people more and you just become a better person. And then also she has 5 tips to boost your energy. So I'm going to provide all the links for this in the links in the information in the notes.
Show
I'll
notes.
go ahead and provide the and you guys, I would love for you to follow her. It's Lissa Higgins on Facebook. Do you have is it also lissahiggins.com?
It's Lissa Figgins, it's with an F as in Frank.
Oh my gosh, I've been saying this incorrect the whole time. You know, and I
No
double
worries.
checked. Ugh, good goodness.
No worries.
I'm sorry, Lissa.
No worries at all. And you got Lissa right, because it's Melissa without the M-E, because it's not about me. So that's how you know it's Lissa, not Lisa. So yes.
Okay.
But yes, I'm Lissa Figgins on Facebook, on Instagram, on LinkedIn as well. So any of those 3 are places you can find me.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for
yes,
just asking great questions and drawing out some things that, you know, kind of help us reflect back and look ahead to where we're going. I think that's the beautiful thing about this.
sometimes you need a little coaching to talk, you know, to dig deep.
Right.
So that's what I love to do. I love to get to know what's underneath. So thank you. I really appreciate your time, and thank you everybody for listening. I hope you learned a lot today. I hope you feel more encouraged. I hope you feel more excitement for your potential business, whatever that may be, whether it's network marketing or not network marketing. I hope you can take the information that you learned today to apply to your life and do good things with it. So have a really wonderful day, and thank you again, Lissa. We will chat soon.